Hey everyone, Andrew back again and welcome to another video, and it's Saturday, so I'm here with another slasher review as part of the HORRORmans Slashback Slasher Challenge series. And this week's theme, really cool title by the way, Joe, Home for the Horrordays. So Joe wanted us to review a slasher movie centered pretty much entirely in someone's home, someone's house, and I've got the perfect movie. Better watch out. I watched it for the first time the other week, and not only is this a home invasion slasher centered entirely in someone's house, it is also Christmas themed, so killing two birds with one stone essentially. So yeah, we'll get on to the plot for Better Watch Out. So Better Watch Out plays out like a home invasion film. We have Luke, whose parents have gone out for the evening, and he's left in his house along with babysitter Ashley. Ashley has been enlisted to watch Luke for the evening, and as they are settling in for the evening of babysitting, there's an intruder. Someone has invaded Luke's house, and what seems like a pretty standard traditional home invasion movie definitely takes a turn for the worst, and it couldn't be more far from that. This is no ordinary home invasion movie, not by a long shot. So that's all I'm going to say on the plot, because I really don't want to spoil too much about this movie, as much as I do. I'm sure a lot of you haven't watched this one yet, so I don't like to spoil anything. But yeah, that is essentially the plot for this one. So now we'll move on to my thoughts. Now, I've owned this movie for well over a year now, maybe even close to 2 years. I've had this one for a while, and I'm sure, like everyone else, I have a pretty large backlog of movies to get through. However, a few people on the Slash Bro stream have been talking about this over the past couple of weeks, and I decided that it was high time to check this movie out. Now, obviously I watched it before I knew what the theme was for this week, but recent watch for me, and it does fit nicely into the theme. So perfect excuse for me to talk about this movie. Now, right off the bat, I fucking love this movie. This one blew me away, and it's definitely one of the most memorable horror experiences that I've had in a really long time, which is saying a lot because I watch a lot of great horror movies. But this is definitely one of my favourite slasher films that I've watched from this entire yearly challenge. So yeah, with that being said, we'll talk a little bit about the location first. So obviously, fitting into this week's theme, this one predominantly is set entirely within Luke's home, and Luke's home's really nice. He lives in a pretty well-to-do suburb. His house is pretty large, 2-story home, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Kevin's house from the original Home Alone movie. It's definitely got that vibe to it. Also, being set in Christmas time, it's got a pretty good Christmas vibe to it as well. So, perfect location for a home invasion film for sure. Now we'll move on to the characters. So, I really enjoyed the characters a lot, especially Luke, who was essentially the main kid within this movie. Now, there's a few different side characters that get introduced throughout the movie, including Luke's parents, but I'm not really going to focus too much on them. Not that there was anything wrong with them, but I'm really wanting to give credit where credit's due and talk about essentially the 3 young actors who played the 3 main roles. Fun little fact, they're all from Australia, which is pretty cool. This is a US/Australian co-production, and yeah, I really enjoyed seeing some young Aussie actors in a horror movie, because you don't often see that too much. So Ashley was the babysitter, and I thought she was really good. Pretty typical standard teenage babysitter, but I really liked her character, and she kind of got stronger and a little bit smarter over the course of the film, and I really liked that. And by the end of the film, yeah, she was very strong and very smart, which I really liked. And her at the end was oh so satisfying, but that's all I'm going to say on that. And then we have Luke's best friend, who I've seen in a few different movies, and I think he's a really good actor, and his performance in this was no different. He was really good. Again, like Ashley, kind of a standard character for a best friend, but really, really good. And I definitely enjoyed his character. His character, I guess, kind of matured over the course of the movie. And that's all I'm really going to say on that. But we've got to talk about the main character in this one. We really have to talk about Luke. Levi Miller played Luke, and I have seen Levi in a few different other Australian movies, and I think he's a really, really good kind of up-and-coming young Aussie actor. But for me, this was definitely his best role to date. He was absolutely phenomenal, and I could talk about Luke within this movie for ages, but I'm going to kind of keep it brief because I don't want to spoil too much, like I said at the beginning of the review, because this movie I think is definitely kind of a good one to go into, not knowing too much about it. But yeah, Luke was one sick, sadistic little bastard, and for a child actor, absolutely phenomenal. His performance was outstanding. It's been quite a long time where I've felt genuine anger and rage towards a horror character, but I definitely felt that towards Luke throughout this entire movie. And just when I thought that his character wouldn't go any further, it definitely did. So Luke, especially for a child actor, was absolutely outstanding in his role. So kudos to Levi Miller. You played Luke outstandingly, absolutely phenomenal. But yeah, that's all I'm really going to say on that. This one doesn't really have an overly high body count. It's more set out like a home invasion film, and I guess you could kind of say that the slasher elements definitely take a little bit of a backburn, but it's definitely a slasher movie as well. And while I said it doesn't have an overly high body count, the kills are pretty memorable, and there's some nice gore, and the kills are pretty brutal and nasty, and it really doesn't shy away from any of it. So yeah, really, really cool. There's definitely one standout kill for me, and it's definitely the one that is the nice little throwback to one of the traps from the original Home Alone movie. That's all I'm going to say on that. And speaking of Home Alone, this essentially is a slasher version of Home Alone, basically. It definitely had that vibe in my opinion, and yeah, there's some nice nods to the Home Alone film throughout this movie. So all in all, this one blew me away. I wasn't expecting to like it nearly as much as I did, but yeah, absolutely incredible. And there's a few quotes that I quickly want to read off, because as we all know, I'm sure, quotes on a movie cover don't necessarily match the movie, but in this case, they definitely do. So one quote says, "dangerously, deeply demented," which it definitely is. There's another one here says, "perversively unwholesome," which it definitely is. And then there's one on the back here that says "hilariously bonkers," which it also is. So yeah, that's all I really want to say on Better Watch Out without spoiling too much. But if you haven't watched this one and you like your home invasion movies, you're definitely in for a treat. This is not your standard home invasion. There's a pretty awesome twist that I personally didn't see coming. And yeah, this movie absolutely blew me away. Definitely one of the better slashers that I've seen throughout this entire yearly challenge, for sure, easily. So if you haven't seen this one, obviously from my review and what I've been saying, this one definitely gets my highest recommendation. And if you have seen this one, let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. Anyway, that is it for this week's review. Until next Saturday when I'll be back with another one. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and thank you for watching.